Hi everyone, my name is Wes Levitt. I'm head of strategy at Theta Labs. I'm excited to be here at Istanbul Blockchain Week. And also really pleased to see how everyone's been positive and focused on building here. I know it's been a rough few weeks with the FTX collapse, but I've been in this space since 2017 now, and I've got the scars from a few bear markets, so I know how these things go. And the right people just continue to build and push the space forward regardless of the negativity going around it. So happy to see it. But what I want to talk about today is what we're building at Theta Labs. Our new initiative we're pushing out on December 1st is called Theta Metachain, and it's our mainnet 4.0. We launched in 2019, and we're a layer one focused on media and entertainment. This big expansion to Metachain is effectively a chain of chains, which will allow horizontal scaling through an infinite amount of sub-chains that can be launched by DApp partners or other enterprises we work with. So as I mentioned, we're focused on media and entertainment. It's a crowded space with layer ones, so we focus where we have our expertise. We took investment early from Samsung, Sony, Creative Artist Agency, Bertelsmann, and so we focused exactly where our strengths are, which is our relationships with media and entertainment and knowing the use cases that they want to see out of blockchain. So the core of what we do is video delivery infrastructure, and what that means is Theta Blockchain acts as the accounting system or payments layer for nodes around the world to be able to share video and relay it to other users peer-to-peer. We've since expanded that to our edge nodes also being in the transcoding and encoding space, and now moving into storage as well. So you can think of our edge network as sort of a full stack replacement for AWS, or supplement to an AWS that provides cloud services. Two other products in our sort of decentralized suite that we offer to media and entertainment is our Theta Video API, which is a middleware that makes it very easy to tap into our Theta network. And then as a response to interest from enterprises wanting to get into NFTs the last few years, we launched our Theta Drop NFT marketplace. And that's had some very high profile drops with Sony Entertainment, American Idol, Party Poker, Katy Perry, and many others that they look to Theta as their partner for NFTs because we understand the pain points for media, and we have a full solution for a lot of their different enterprises. So the Edge network is sort of the backbone of what we do. It's run by tens of thousands of users around the world. And these are sort of the worker nodes that actually provide the decentralized services on Theta network. So if you fire up an edge node yourself, you can relay video with other viewers in the area and earn Theta tokens as a reward for doing that. You can supply data storage and also encoding and compute. So basically any excess compute resources you have, the edge node is your way of providing those to the network in a productive way, and then earning tokens as a reward. So yeah, tens of thousands of those around the world. There's a big presence in Turkey. One of our nodes, in fact, I just met Evren here, who's running one natively, so thanks for supporting us. Besides these worker nodes, our consensus model relies on two different types of nodes. It's called multi-BFT, and it's a two-step consensus model. So we have a small inner layer of validators, I believe 18 right now, that are run by community users, but also enterprises like Blockchain, Google Cloud, Binance, Samsung, Sony Europe is now running one. And we at Theta Labs also run a few ourselves. But the second step is also about 3,500 community-run Guardian nodes who act as a second layer that finalize the blocks produced by validators. So we look at this as the best of both worlds. You get the fast consensus and low block times from having a small validator set, but in the unlikely event that Samsung and Google and Binance get together and want to collude to roll back the Theta blockchain, the community-run Guardian nodes can reject invalid blocks, so it's still trustless and decentralized in that sense. But the main thing, like I said, we want to talk about is on December 1st, we'll launch to production our Metachain. It's live on testnet right now. For anyone who wants to launch a subchain, you can do that. But when it goes live on December 1st, this is really interesting because then a lot of media partners and dApps building on Theta can finally have their own subchain, which both gives them for the scaling and being able to not be crowded out by other transactions from other dApps on the blockchain, but also more customization. So what that means is on every subchain, you can almost think of it as being able to fire up your own blockchain without having to actually do the work to do so. So you can launch your own governance tokens, you can create your own validators, you can customize the fees and use different tokens to pay for them. So basically everything that a partner or a dApp may want to customize for their own chain, they can do so under the shared security umbrella of the overall Theta blockchain. And every subchain is EVM compatible, so anything that can be, any smart contract that runs on one can easily be run on another. So that's important when you have, say, a given dApp that wants to run 3 different subchains to scale up. They can easily do so and run cross-chain. And that also applies to the Theta main chain, so it's interoperable with Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, et cetera. Just a quick note about the architecture. The easy way to visualize it is the end users that have use of our services, like the video sharing or encoding or compute. They use Theta Video API as the middleware to access this edge network actually doing the work. And then you can think of the blockchain, and specifically the metachain now, as the transaction layer and accounting system that sits above and records all that. So yeah, testnet's been live for about a month and a half now and running smoothly. There's about 50,000 transactions a day being run by our test partners, including Replay, which we'll talk a little bit about. Anyone now the code is open source. You can go ahead and fire up your own subchain now. So any developers that are interested in looking for a layer 1, especially if you have a focus on media and entertainment, definitely like to talk about what support we can give to how you can get started developing on Metachain. But much more interesting, I think, than the technical stuff is the partners we're excited about that are launching their own subchains coming up soon. So Replay, as I just mentioned, this is a video tracking and payments platform. So these guys come from the video space, and what they're trying to solve is a problem they had when they ran their own video platform, where content creators can sometimes take 6 months to get paid once it goes through various publishers, and it's very opaque as to what their earnings really are and what they should be getting for how much video is consumed. So they are using Theta blockchain to track every video segment that runs through platforms that use their protocol and pay creators fairly. Then Fuse, if you're familiar with Fuse TV in the US, it's a lifestyle music channel that's on major carriers like Comcast, and they are actually launching a spin-off TV channel that's going to be built on Theta from the ground up. I don't want to give away too much details because I think they haven't announced the style of it yet, but it'll be really interesting to crypto folks. TrueVRS, a metaverse media platform that focuses on sports and other men's type content. IEL, which is an animation studio that's moving into Web3, that's backed by some good Hollywood folks. MetaPass, an NFT ticketing platform. And then the last is Symbiote Creatives, which is a Web3 game developer that's launching a game called Fuse Wars, which I actually have a clip of. It's very exciting. I think it's one of the first blockchain games I've ever seen that genuinely compares to AAA games. So I think it's pretty impressive. Let's see if this will play automatically. There we go. So it was a bit louder than I was expecting, so a little intense, but you can see it's really, I think, head and shoulders above a lot of the blockchain games you see. It's definitely got a Gears of War meets sort of like the Doom remake vibe to it. So that's in a closed beta right now. If you want to reach out to the team, they can probably get an invite, and then in Q1 they'll be launching a public beta for everyone to play. So really excited for that to come out. And then just to profile a few others, so Replay, as I mentioned, it's a video tracking and payments protocol. They've actually launched their own video platform called Rewarded TV, sort of as a showcase for how this works and to attract content creators that want to be paid more fairly. And they've already signed on several different Hollywood studios to distribute their content through Rewarded TV to show off how, using this blockchain tracking profile, you can reward creators more fairly and then use that to then as a case study to show other creators that are upset with the current system. They also just signed up an animated series called Psycho KO that's going to be released exclusively through Replay. And they just signed on John Hader, who was the star of Napoleon Dynamite, and he's reuniting with the whole cast to voice the content of this series. So that got a lot of buzz in the Hollywood publications, and excited for that to launch very soon. They also launched an NFT through Theta Drop, which is basically how you'll get access to the extras like the comic books associated with and everything. So very cool stuff coming from them. And then the last one to profile is MetaPass, which, as I said, it's an NFT ticketing platform. We're really excited about this one because we've always seen NFTs as, the interesting about them is the utility they can have beyond just your JPEGs and your profile pics. Now, granted, we have released some of those at the insistence of our partners that want to do that, and it has been pretty successful. We are the 6th largest NFT platform by volume, about 10 to 15 million per month in transaction volume. But the really interesting thing is it's still growing month over month, even into this bear market. So while volumes have collapsed on other platforms, we're actually still growing significantly. And I think that's a testament to the curated drops we have. Some of these really big brands like American Idol. The Philippine version of American Idol is also dropping there soon. So I think it's a quality over quantity thing, and that's why our volumes are still growing in this bear market. MetaPass is a good example of what we see as the next generation of that, where it's not just a collectible, it's actually something with utility, and they do NFT ticketing for both online and offline conferences. Big one they're doing is ThetaCon in Miami, which is happening next month. But they have big plans to expand beyond that. Once they have the ticketing market and they have relationships with the IP rights holders, what they want to do is then translate that into other ways of capturing fan attention, like fan tokens and other ways, which is a pretty crowded space, but they have sort of the inside track now that they have relationships with some of the promoters and venues that are using their product. And last, just a little bit of a comparison, so it's just easy to understand that in a way, this chain of chains concept is probably familiar to a lot of you. There's some differences, but you can think of it akin to an Avalanche or Cosmos or Polkadot, where you're using horizontal scaling versus a layer 2 solution. But we tried to take the best of what we saw of the existing solutions and then cater it to what we see our enterprise partners wanting. So that means being able to scale and have very low finalization time. It means shared security through the overall Theta blockchain, but governance that can happen at the subchain level for those that want control of their own app chain, so to speak. And then a big focus on interoperability and the developer experience, because we know there's options out here, and we want to improve on what we see as the barrier to entry for joining some of these others. So a big piece of that is that EVM compatibility is built in across the board, so there's never any question about whether a subchain is interoperable with another. So there's not these breakages in the ecosystem. Just on the technical side, it's connected through the main chain, so there's never that many hops between subchains. It's very easy to go through the main chain. So I think we're about done, but just where to learn more. Obviously, find me afterward, especially if you're a developer. I'd love to talk about how you could be building with Theta. Otherwise, check us out on our GitHub. The Metachain repo is open source. You can start building immediately, or follow us on social for all the latest updates. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Yeah.